Welcome everyone. We are in week 6 of 8, so we're just about done with the summer semester. And so in week 6 is when we continue to build out our skills with inferential statistics. And this week is focused on quantitative inferential methods. So working with quantitative data, right, where we can do mean, median, mode, percentiles, etc., right? And so this week, it does seem like a lot, but it actually kind of is a nice split off. So week 6 is quantitative data, week 7 is qualitative data, and then week 8 is just going to be sum up. So we do have three chapters that we're looking at. So one sample T, two sample T, and then multi-sample T, also known as ANOVA. And so you're going to learn the difference between a T and a Z test, and with the going through the video assignments, you probably recognize like, okay, T-test is sigma is unknown, which actually fits most of our most of the situations we end up in everyday society. So T-tests are super applicable, and if you've taken A&P 1 or anatomy and physiology, you're probably like, oh yeah, we did T-tests all the time, right? So you're going to learn about that this week and work more on the details of those tests. So video assignments, great. This single introduction video is coming out late, so you'll have already done the video assignments. And then this one, this week we have 2 activities and then the lab. Make sure to read the instructions in the Excel lab. You do not need to do every single sheet, right? There's only 3 sheets that you need to complete. So more on that in a later video. And then after that, again, I'll talk about the final project here in a moment, but you can start working on that, especially if your project involves quantitative data, right? You're going to know how to do the 4-step method with quantitative data, so go ahead and do it. And then, of course, do the homework. My other announcements here all center around the final project. So the proposal, look for feedback coming on that very, very soon here. And if I say, this looks good, go ahead and do it, go ahead and do it, right? And I'll talk about how you can do it here in a moment. But if it is not approved, right, you'll get a 0 initially, and then go ahead, look at my feedback, revise it, resubmit, or if you have questions before the resubmit, certainly feel free to ask. Okay, and you can resubmit any time for full credit for this assignment. Okay, I want to make sure you get it right heading into the final project. Okay, and I'm happy to consult with you as needed. Now, when I say go ahead and go do it, right, you're like, well, I need data. I'm like, yep, good. So there's 2 things you can do. You can gather your own, which in my opinion might be the more challenging route, but I mean, some students really enjoy going and gathering data. Now, keep in mind, earlier in the course, we talked about ways to gather data and good sampling methods, right? So if you do something that is more of a convenience sample, right, so like put a survey out on your social media and then whoever clicks on it, right? That could be voluntary or convenience. So that is not a good sampling method. And you'll get data, right? But then I'm kind of holding a carrot over your head of like extra credit, right? So that is not a true SRS. It's not a method that avoids bias, right? So if you go through a process that eliminates bias, so either SRS or some sort of systematic sample, right? Then you can get extra credit only if you document it. And I mean, like, in your write-up, it's like multiple pages of you explaining how you collected the data. And I have had a student do this very well in the past, and I awarded 20 points of extra credit to the student because it was substantial work that was extra. So if you feel so motivated, go do it. Otherwise, you can do this project and get a perfectly great score doing something else. And that other way, so you could make up the data yourself if you feel confident doing that. Or if you want to just not do the thinking and have something else think, this is the one area where I would allow AI to generate the data set for you. So using AI like ChatGPT, you could say, okay, let's say I'm looking at the heart rate of university students after exercise and seeing if it's above, on average, like after 30 minutes of exercise, is it above 120? I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to tell ChatGPT, generate a data set of 100 entries or whatever, however many you want to do, entries, that shows the heart rates of college students after 30 minutes of strenuous exercise, and then put the data in an Excel file. Okay, and I didn't try this ahead of time. Sometimes it's smart, sometimes it is not so smart. But as we wait for it to analyze what we are wanting it to do, okay, see, and this is sometimes what it gives you. It gives you a bunch of code and you're like, I don't know how to parse that. Okay, so we can just say like list 30 or 100 observations or 100 values of heart rate after 30 minutes of exercise. The values should be for college students. And so let's see, sometimes you just have to ask it a slightly different question and then you get the stuff that you want. Okay, so other times, okay, it's gonna take a hot minute here. You might need to tell it, you might need to Google like what is the average, what is the standard deviation, and then tell it, okay, I want 100 observations from a normal distribution with this mean and this standard deviation, and it'll do that too. So you can do that, and then so then it just says, if you wanted a downloadable format, you can do that. So just an idea on how to generate data if you don't want to go and make it yourself. All right, so that concludes the announcements. If you have questions as you are getting started on the project, please ask. This would be a great time to pop into Just Ask, or set up an appointment, and we can have a chat about it. All right, have fun.